Hi there, and welcome to a new video in the series of videos that we're making for insidetracks.co.uk. It's one of 100 or so videos that we've made. So look them up. If you want to subscribe, please do. If you like this video, then you'll get the next one that comes out. I'm going to deal with steamers and drifters today. And understanding what they are for a start, which is what I'll start with, is to tell you what is a steamer, what is a drifter. Then I'll go into why. Why do they steam? Why do they drift? What are the major factors that affect the prices of different horses? And then finally, most importantly, I will put a way in which you can make money out of understanding what the factors are and why horses steam or drift. So there's something in it for you. A few hints and tips on how to make some money. So in response to that, and if you can help me subscribe, like, and then I'll make some more videos. Okay, so let's get on with it and have a start and look at what a steamer is. The definition of a steamer is a horse that starts receiving backing, resulting in even more people backing it. Which results in even more people backing it. So the basically the odds go down, and that happens often quite quickly on every sports book, with often groups of people or syndicates initially backing the horse heavily. The exact origins of the term steamer we don't know, lost in history, but could be related to the fact that the odds appear to be steaming in like a train going through a station. So it's probably goes back to the good old age of steam and punters jumping on the steam bandwagon. So that's what a steamer is, and why does a horse steam? So what makes a horse's odds tumble drastically so far away from where the professional compiler has made his assessment? So when someone professional person in the horse racing business, they pull together what's called a tissue. They look at horse's form. They see this horse beat that horse, therefore this horse must be a shorter price because he's beaten that one before, blah, 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 blah. And he puts up what he thinks the best odds are. But suddenly, those odds are not correct in the eyes of the punters. Now, there's several reasons, and I'm just going to give you the main ones. And sometimes there's more than one reason, but I'll give you the main ones to start off with, okay? So the first one is actually basically psychological. It's the herd effect. It's called the herd effect. Basically, punters jump on what they feel is bandwagon. So they see the horse is being backed, they see the horse's prices going in, and they go, oh, I wonder why that's going in. Someone must know something somewhere, so I'm going to back it. So they back it, and then the horse's price goes in again, and so on, and we get this effect that happens, which is the horse actually shouldn't be a lower price. It's just purely psychological. So that's one way we can see that happening, and you can see the herd effect. You can see on the left-hand side clearly how that herd effect has happened. You see that the horse starts out around about 2. Starts going in, goes into sort of 1.72 is the lowest. You can see the low at the top there. And then there's some money, quite a lot of money at the bottom there. You can see coming in £6,000, comes in at about 1.72, which is someone somewhere going, that's far too low. And you see that is probably the herd effect. Take the one on the right as an example. That is much more like a proper steam. You see the price coming in. You see then there's quite a lot of money there, £800 odd coming in to push it out again. There's a little peak, but actually, no, they're not going to be pushed back out again. There's enough people in the know and enough people who want to back the horse, push it back down, and it goes and continues to shorten right up to the off. So you can tell when there's a bandwagon going on because the price goes in and it creates what is termed a U-curve. It reaches the bottom, then a bunch of people who understand racing probably more than the punters, they go, that's very nice, thank you very much. I will be happy to to lay you at that 1.72. And so the price then drifts back out towards the 2, which is where it started. So the herd effect is there. Then an effect which is quite big because we see that there are horses, quite a few horses, who can't run on soft and quite a few horses that can't run on firm. It's to do with the breeding of the horse, to do with their action. A horse with a high action like soft ground and a horse that skips along likes firm ground. And so if you have a horse that skips along and suddenly there's a cloud burst, it's just not going to get through the ground and it will struggle and potentially wind up at the back. And we saw this actually earlier on in the year at Leicester. Huge amount of rain in the spring, and we had just the most amazing results come through with horses that were 14 to 1, 16 to 1, winning by 20 lengths, 30 lengths, 40 lengths. And you know, so we can see that the going and particularly major changes in the going can create very much different chances for different horses, and that can create both steaming and drifts, by the way. Jockeys and trainers in form. So some people like to follow them. Some people will, for instance, when Frankie had his 7 out of 7 at Windsor that day, not Windsor, it was some other course at Haydock, that's right. He had 7 wins and won every single race. By the time you got to the last race, the horse had steamed in quite radically, because clearly the first 6 races Frankie won, and the 7th race there was quite a few doubles, trebles, and even 5-timers going onto the last race, which meant that the bookies were incredibly exposed and therefore had to reduce the price of the horse considerably. And just as well they did, because he went on and won the 7th race, didn't he? So the bigger the name, you know, if Frankie wins the first 2 races at a meeting, then his 3rd mount will steam, as doubles and trebles look more likely to go in. And the bigger the name, the more the steam. Tipsters, when a well-known tipster, like Pricewise or others, I name one here, put their tips out, then you can often find that their followers will pile in. Hugh Taylor, I've done a video on it. Look it up. There's ways in which you can make money out of Hugh Taylor. He puts his tips up at about between 9 and 10 in the morning, and often you'll see that then his tip will halve in price. That halving in price will then lead to more people piling in, and suddenly you find a horse that should be 8.0 on Betfair is down at 3.5, and I see that as a brilliant opportunity to lay the horse at that price, because often Hugh Taylor is, I mean, my opinion only, it's not that good. Trainers and jockeys and other insiders can also have an effect. So if a trainer says, I think he's going to do well, then you get people who do listen, and there are several websites that will give you trainer quotes. Jockeys are also ambassadors for several different bookmakers, so you can read about their chances, and certainly, there's one thing leads to another, and the price is moved because of whatever the comment was that they made. Probably the one that you really would like to know about, and you can often tell if you read my newsletter. I'm quite often telling you about look out for this particular horse, because it comes from a stable that does do coups. And a coup is where a horse is laid out for a race. In other words, the horse has not really been a trier in previous races, and then the trainer gets it just right, either by the grounds, by the distance, by the course, or just because he's trained it to do for this particular race. That a coup happens. Everybody's in the know. This horse has been laid out for this race. The owners know it. The stable hands know it. Everybody begins to know it. Word gets round, and then they land a gamble or land a touch, as they say. So you can see those, and they are probably the most interesting because they're the ones that really are, going to win. Because if you're a trainer and you lay out 500 quid on your horse to win, you want to make bloody sure you've done the right job. Whereas all the other effects can often be, transient or not real. So that's why horses steam. Drifters. Drifters are the opposite end of the spectrum to steamers. The term refers to the horses who attract very little support at their opening price and continue to be ignored by punters even as they are made available at longer prices and longer prices. I mean, sometimes horses can double, quadruple in price. I've seen horses that are 8 to 1 go out to 33 to 1. And it's very, very clear that those people in the know this horse is not, in his best coat, not looking his best, not trained quite enough, will benefit from the run, etc., etc. All these terms that you hear, that is what the trainer and the connections, the people close to the horse, already know, and therefore it's going to drift. Drifters can see their price go out from opening show. A response to negative events like horse runs loose, whatever. And drifters are often described as friendless in the market. And some of those points I make here, the psychological effect therefore comes in. Punters see a horse's price drift. They think there must be a reason for the drift. And actually, I would suggest, very much so in my experience, that drifting horses, the drift is more likely to be real than a initial steamer. So if you see a horse drifting in the market fairly early on, I often find that it doesn't come back in. But if it does, then that drift was absolutely false because often you see horses drift from the start, from the price they were given at the very start, right up to the beginning of the race, and that is a real sign that the horse is not going to win and is a non-trier or is it in there just for the run or whatever it happens to be. So psychological reasons, again, that herd effect that we were talking about with the steamers. Again, changing the going, just completely the opposite way around. So horse that likes firm ground, it's firm today. It's been put in as favourite, and then suddenly there's a downpour overnight, maybe unexpected even, and the horse will then drift like a barge. The next one is trainer comments. Again, something like the horse needs, like to improve for the run. Don't be surprised then if a trainer says something that isn't positive, anything. Like not being 100% fit, whatever, the horse will take a walk in the market. And then paddock problems. You often hear it and see it on ITV when you're watching racing. If you do, horses sweating up badly. Doesn't mean to say they're going to lose, but horses that sweat up do historically. If you look at the stats, horses that sweat up have less chance of winning than if they didn't sweat up. Unruly going down to the start, for instance, pulling very hard, wasting a lot of energy, fighting the jockey, getting loose, playing up, getting themselves fired up. You often hear this term, the horse is very lit up. That can happen by a horse being stupid in the stalls, banging its a leg or something, coming out the stalls badly and bumping into another horse. This can light a horse, particularly these very race horses are beings that get easily upset, and so then the horse goes flying off in the start and runs too fast, pulls too hard, and suddenly has lost its chance. And we must forget the effect of steamers. If we had a 2-horse race and one horse was steaming, then the other horse would be drifting. It's very straightforward. So just don't forget that a horse can actually drift when there's no negative issues related to it, and the only reason it's drifting is because another horse is steaming. If you can spot that that's a false steam, if you like, the reason there is no particular reason that you can see for the steamer coming in, then you may well want to go and back the horse that you like that's drifted. There's nothing wrong with that. But as a general rule, and you must take this as a general rule, steamers are a sign of something positive, as a general rule. And it should be, because if you take a 5-to-1 shot and it comes into 4-to-1, what we're saying is at 5-to-1, it has a 20% chance of winning. At 4-to-1, it has a 25% chance of winning. So we're actually saying its chance of winning is going up as it steams in. And equally, if it drifts, its chance of winning is going out. And so you must view steamers as positive and drifters as negative, albeit that you can find examples where that's completely not the case. Now, one question, really quite important question. Is it important when the drift or steam occurs? And the answer to the question is based on a couple of factors, but the answer is yes, it is, a big yes. If the event goes close to the start of the race or not. So £100 that you bet the night before, when there's only a few £100s to be put on an entire race, makes a significant difference and will move the price quite a lot. Whereas that £100, when thousands of pounds have been put on it, will hardly make a dent. So a drift or a steam early in the morning can often be reversed as more money comes in. So even though that drift or steam early in the morning can be a sign as we've just discussed of connections getting on and early money coming in, equally it can just be someone putting on a relatively large amount of money just because they like the horse, and it's moved the horse more than it should have. Money which comes in early, often from connections and tipsters. That's just what I've talked about. The tipster side, Hugh Taylor's good example. Connections we've just talked about. Whether the horse is overweighted or underweighted. Now, understanding overweighting and underweighting, I've done a video on it, but very, very briefly, if you take the horse's price and you multiply it by the amount of money that's been put on it, that particular horse on Betfair, if the amount it comes to more than the overall amount on the race, then it's overweighted. So let's just take an example. There's been £1,000 put on the race overall for all the runners. The horse is 5-to-1. Or 5.0, actually 4-to-1, 5.0, and it's had £500 put on it. You take the £500, you multiply it by the 5, you get 2,500, and we just said that was £1,000 put on the race. That means that horse is very, very overweighted, and overweighted horses it's more difficult to move their price than underweighted horses. So that's just a fact, and so if you look at a horse and it's very, very underweighted in the marketplace, then a movement either in or out is less important or less significant than if it's a highly overweighted horse and it goes in or out. Okay, so that's, again, something to look out for. So in conclusion, an early steam probably represents some in-the-know money. It can lead to a more sustained movement as punters jump on the perceived bandwagon. However, it's more important to see whether the movement is sustained close to the off. So those charts I showed you earlier on, one was a U-check chart, which said that early money was not particularly important. And the other chart, where basically it continued to steam through to the off, was very much more the chart you'd want to see to say, yeah, this is a proper steam, proper stuff going on here now. So how do I make money? Which is what you've all been waiting for and all been asking me to get to as quickly as I can. And hopefully I have got here quickly. How do I make money? That's the most important thing. And the issue you have with making money out of a steamer, for instance, is that by the time you've identified that it's a steamer, the value has probably gone. So 8-to-1 it was, now it's 6-to-1, now it's 5-to-1, now it's 4-to-1. You get to it at 4-to-1, you recognize it's a steamer, but actually you didn't get the 8-to-1. You're getting 4-to-1 now. So a lot of the value has gone out of it. However, you can make money. And So we've got this situation, which I've just described with the chart. It's a steamer that's continued to shorten right up to the off, then back to lay this horse, because actually the reason why it will shorten is because of that build-up of sentiment, that psychological effect in the minds of the punters, is when it goes in play and goes into the race, they will look at that horse more positively in the race. So if it falls out the stalls, they'll go, oh, well, don't worry, it's a steamer, it's going to win. So it's fallen out the stalls, so its price won't shoot out. It will say, oh, no, it's okay, it's going to win because it's a steamer. Whereas if you had a drifter, for instance, that fell out the stalls, well, its price would rocket out. So so anything that the horse does positively in the race, say it comes, with a challenge, suddenly everyone goes, oh, look, it's going to win, it's going to win. Look, I knew this was going to win. And so its price will rocket down to 1.2 or 1.3, and then actually it doesn't win. And it was just a normal horse doing its normal business. So yes, you may well have missed the value. You may well not have got the 8-1. You may well just get the 4-1. But the 4-1, in my experience, goes down to 3 or 2-1 in play, and that's when you can make your money out of a back to lay. Vice versa, exactly the same. Lay or lay to back or lay in play. These are the things to do with a drifter. You're more exposed on laying, as you'll all know, and a drifter particularly puts you at quite a lot of risk, because if that drift was completely false, say that horse was 4-1, had a jolly good chance at the start when it opened up, the professional tissue person said, 4-1, it's got a second's favourites chance, it's got all this reason, all this good form, blah 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 blah, and then it drifts from that 4-1 to say 8 or 10 or 12-1. You go and put your money on, say, oh, I'm going to lay it at 12-1, and then actually it has the 4-1's chance and comes in. You're very exposed. However, if that drift has been going on all the way up to the off, that's the important thing. The drift is that it goes all the way up to the off, then lay, but preferably lay to back or lay in play. What I like to do is I like to say, oh, okay, so this is my approach, this is my strategy. You might have a different one, but this is what I like to do. I either like to lay to back it, so 8-1, I'll lay it 8-1, and I'll want to back it then at 12-1 in running, or I'll lay it a bit before the off and then hope it continues to drift up to the off, and I try and time it right, just the last 3 or 4 minutes before the off. However, the preferred route for me is to see that if this horse was 4-1 and it's drifted out to 12-1, then I like to see it go in play. I like to see it come back down to 4-1, and then I will lay it at 4-1, because I know at those odds, all those people in the know were prepared to lay it at that, and therefore, if I can get those odds in play, I'm doing well. And if it goes on to win, okay, I'm not. Yeah, it's not great. I'm upset, but I'm not 12-1 out. I'm 4-1 out. So that's my approach. You might want to think about that, and do what you like, do what you see is best for you. So research has shown that backing every steamer is profitable, but only if you get the peak price. So only if you could get that 8-1 on a steamer, and each time a steamer happens, you get the peak price, will you see good profits? So you're not going to do that, because by the time you've identified the steamer, the value's gone. So so those people who say, oh, recognize a steamer, look up here and go to these websites, they'll tell you which a steamer is. And then I always back the steamer. Actually, I'd be surprised if they make money. Good on them if they do, but I'd be surprised if they do. Because actually the research shows that by the time you and I get the hang and say, oh, yeah, this is definitely a steamer, it's come in all the way to the off, all the value's gone. All the values, the people in the know have got the value, they've got the 8-1, and you're left with the 4-1. And even then, some of the guys who took 8-1 are going to lay it at 4-1 and take a profit before the off. So you're kind of in a no-win situation if you're trying to back steamers that you recognise all the time. My advice is use the positive momentum of a steamer and the positive psychological sentiment of a steamer to make money out of a back delay, and use the my strategy, which is lay and play, and try and get a low, or the low price in play for that horse. Generally speaking, I try and, if I'm laying in play, I don't like to lay a horse very much after the 2 furlong, 1.5 furlong pole, because then you can find yourself in difficulty. But I will definitely lay and play up to about the furlong pole if I feel confident that that I'm right. Okay. So steamers and drifters, funny old thing. No one solution. No one could just say go and find the steamers. Go to this website, get the names of the steamers that are coming in, and back them all, and you'll make money, because you probably won't. Drifters, oh yeah, just go to this website, go find this person who says he can tell you about all the drifters, and lay them all. Equally, not sure you're going to make money. But if you do what I'm suggesting here, then you have a very, very good chance of making money. And in my experience, I make money out of it doing this. So I hope you do. Give it a go. Let me know how you get on. If you want to comment on this video, please do down the bottom. Please do like and share this video. If you want a decent newsletter that will give you trading opportunities and a back to lay candidates that deliver a profit, then go to insidetracks.co.uk and try for 14 days our newsletter, which gives you plenty of good tips and plenty of ways of making a bit of cash on the side. I'm not promising you thousands, but maybe a few hundred a month could be possible. Okay, take care and see you on the next one.